everyone, welcome back to my channel, or welcome if you're new. Can y'all believe it is already December? Like, the way this year went by so fast, that is actually insane. Guys, we have officially 2 more reading wrap-ups to do for the end of the year. Today's, which is gonna be the November reading wrap-up, and then December's. And that's literally it. And then we're gonna do, I guess, our 2025 reading wrap-up. That's gonna be insane. I read 7 books in the month of November, which I would say is pretty good considering, you know, finals week is coming up. Literally next week is finals, and then I'm moving across multiple states over in a week and a half, and then I had to travel for Thanksgiving this month. I would say that's a pretty good reading month given everything that's going on in my life right now, so I'm quite pleased. Also, guys, look at my sweatshirt. Isn't that so cute? I love it so much. I bought it last year whenever me and my now fiance traveled to like this little town place, and I got it right after Christmas ended, and so the sweatshirt was only $5, but I haven't worn it until now because it hasn't been winter, it hasn't been Christmas season. But yeah, now here we are. Let's go ahead and get right on into this wrap up. Let's go ahead and go through my stats here. So like I said, we read 7 books this month. Really, we read 6 because I'm kind of like barely started another one. We read a pretty good little mix of genre here. Pretty much a lot of everything. Some mysteries, some romances, some fantasies, YA and adult. We read some pretty good different mixes here. Let's go ahead and get right on into the first book we read in the month of November. The first book right here I read from November 1st to November 5th. This is The Inheritance Games by Jennifer Lynn Barnes. And guys, if y'all know, I had already read this last year. I just decided to do a little reread because I wanted to continue the Inheritance Games series, and I'd kind of forgotten what had happened, if we're being honest, so I gave it a reread, and honestly, I enjoyed it a lot more than I did the first time I read it. The first time I read it, I believe I gave it a 3-star, and then this time I upped it to a 4, so it was really, really good. Jennifer Lynn Barnes, her writing style is so unique in that, yes, this is a YA, but like her chapters are literally 2 to 3 pages long, and that just has you literally flying through the book. I can't even describe it. It just went by so fast, and like as soon as I would get to a point where I wanted to put down the book, move on to something else, I would just get hit with like this mini cliffhanger at the end of each chapter, and then I would look and see, oh, the next chapter is only like 2 pages. We might as well keep reading, and that cycle just went on and on and on. So this book is really, really good. If y'all don't know what this book is about, pretty much this girl, her name is Avery Grahams. She doesn't exactly have the best life, you know. Her parents, I want to say they passed away, if I'm thinking. Yes, her mother passes away, and then her father kind of isn't really in the picture, so her older sister ends up taking care of her, and you know, they're all young, trying to get established in this world, so they don't really have much to go off of. At a point, she's living in her car. It's just really, they're not in a good place in life, but one day she ends up getting this letter in the mail, and it tells her that she needs to make an appearance at this really rich mansion in Texas because an inheritance has been left for her. And at first they kind of think, oh, that's definitely a scam, but then I don't remember if somebody shows up or something and personally invites her, but they end up putting her and her sister on a private jet, and they end up going to this mansion in Texas, and from there she finds out that she has inherited this man's entire estate worth billions of dollars. It is absolutely insane. It's just so interesting because no one has a clue on this earth why Avery was left the inheritance, and pretty much what this book follows is her, Avery, and then the 4 grandsons of the rich man that passed away. They're all working together to try to figure out why Avery was left this fortune, and yes, it just follows so many riddles and puzzles, and it's just such an interesting story. It says secret passages, elaborate riddles, billions at stake. It's just like, I don't know, there's a little bitty touch of like that YA romance. It's just like sweet in a way, you know what I mean? And yeah, I was on the edge of my seat the entire time. So then of course, following that book, I went right on into the next one because that was the, you know, the reason I reread it in the first place anyway. So this is the Hawthorne Legacy. This is the second book in that little trilogy, I think. Well, it was originally a trilogy, and then they went and added more books onto it. This book, what did I give this one? Yes, I also gave this one 4 stars. I want to say this is the one where like you kind of went into it and it seemed like it picked right off where the last book put down, if that makes sense. Like no time had passed, you kind of just resumed right where it left off. And yeah, somehow the story got even crazier, much more drama went down, and yeah, the puzzles are continuing. They're trying to figure out still different clues to why she got left this fortune, and then along the way they're uncovering more secrets and more drama. So good. Definitely if you're looking for a good YA mystery book with like a little side, teeny side of like YA romance, really cute. Then finally, for this little series, I picked up The Final Gambit by her. This book, I will say, kind of in my opinion, took a little bit of a step down compared to the other ones. Throughout the middle of it, I was bored for a lot of the story. However, at the very end, it really did pick up for that final little climax of the story and the epilogue and everything. It was just so good. I gave this one 3.5 stars, slightly a little bit lower rating than the other ones, but yet I still enjoyed it. This book, unlike the other two who picked up like right after the other one left off, this one is almost like a year later. So one of the conditions of her inheriting this will is that she has to stay in the house for an entire year, and this book is kind of like right as the year is ending and she's about to inherit the billions. Of course, everyone's coming after her. It's crazy. Loved this little trilogy so much. I of course filmed a reading vlog on it if you would like to go check it out. It's the Inheritance Games reading vlog here on my channel. Alright, so now then that I got done with that little trilogy, I was kind of feeling burnt out of kind of a YA and a mystery. I kind of just wanted to go into something a little bit different. So I decided to pick up a romance. I was in between a lot of different options and I ended up going with Throttled by Lauren Asher. This is the first book in the Dirty Air series by her. This book is really unique in the romance category in my opinion because for one, I had never really read a series of romances that follow like these different couples that all kind of know each other. Other than these books over here, I read the Knock 'Em Out trilogy and that kind of was the same thing. But this one was, you know, it was okay. It was kind of like trashy but in a good way, you know what I mean? This book follows these Formula One drivers who are competing in like the World Championship, I'm pretty sure it is. And this particular book right here follows Noah and Maya. Noah races for the Bandini team, and the way we start out this book is with a kind of little prologue in that there is this other guy racing against him on a different team. They're literally in a race at this moment, and this other guy, his name is Santiago. He's absolutely crazy and he ends up getting into a wreck with Noah when trying to pass him, and then they both crash and neither one of them wins the race or even close. I'm pretty sure that kind of disqualifies them if I'm not mistaken. But so we start out with that serious drama that ensues because obviously this sport is these men's life, so for sure they're gonna develop an animosity for each other just off of that. But then later in chapter 1 we learn that Santiago has been reassigned to the same team as Noah, and these two rival men have to work together because now they're kind of technically on the same team. And yeah, it's kind of working through that. At the same time, Maya is Santiago's sister. She agrees to travel with him throughout the extent of the World Championship because she just finished college and she's trying to figure out what to do with her life. So she kind of is like this social media influencer. And guys, it's so much more than that. That's not any spoilers, don't worry. Like that's pretty much just introduced to those facts in the main first chapters of the book. The plot twist at the end was crazy. I kind of want to say I did predict it, but it was still really good. It kind of was just what I needed at the end of the Inheritance Games, just to kind of give myself a different genre, if that makes sense. What did I rate this? Probably nothing even good. Oh, I gave it a 3.5. I guess it was pretty good. Guys, you know, now that I'm sitting here editing this and thinking about it, I think I might want to knock down the rating to a 3 just because it's not nearly as good as other books that I've read and given a 3.5, so I'm giving it a 3 instead. I thought about going right on into the next book in that series after, which is called Collided by Lauren Asher, but then I don't know, something in my head told me to pick something else up just so I didn't start slumping. So then I decided to go in with a new genre altogether. This book right here, I decided to pick up Lightlark by Alex Astor. Guys, if y'all saw my reading vlog on this one, you would know I loved this book so much. This is probably honestly my favorite book of November, if we're being honest. It was so good. This book is kind of like a YA romantasy, and so the extent of it is every 100 years this island appears to host this deadly game where these rulers of these 6 realms are kind of fighting to break out of these curses that they've been assigned years ago. And this is also on the back here. It says to break them and save themselves and their realms, one ruler must die. So yeah, these 6 rulers are kind of competing against each other, trying to figure out how to break these curses. And it was a love triangle. I did not realize it was a love triangle, but I'm not the biggest fan of love triangles unless they're done right. For example, in the Vampire Diaries, Stefan and Damon, that's done right. I don't know. In my opinion, it was like kind of clear that there was one side you should be on, but it was still good nevertheless. I enjoyed our main character. I enjoyed just being put in a different genre of this fantasy world. I feel like I picked up a fantasy at the right moment, just when I was about to probably slump from reading real life things. It's sometimes interesting to go into a make-believe world where you see these different trials. And I also love a good book where they're like separated into these different categories. Like these rulers, one of them's like for the sun, the stars, the water, the earth. It's like interesting describing that and getting to see where all they live, the different curses and powers that they're all assigned. I don't know, I just really enjoyed it, and I'm glad that I picked it up. So then after that, I decided to go into yet another romance. This book I've had on my TBR for the longest time, and I just kind of continued to put it off and off. I don't honestly know why. It just never really intrigued me too much, and so I figured, you know, I didn't really want to go into 2026 with this book still on my TBR, so I was like, I'll go ahead and get it out of the way. This is The Simple Wild Bouquet Tucker, and guys, just looking at this cover, doesn't that give you like 2016 vibes? It definitely does, but I mean, it was still cute. Pretty much this girl, her name is Calla Fletcher. She is living her life in Toronto when all of a sudden she gets a call that her father, who lives in Alaska, has cancer, and he is probably going to be passing away soon. She has like no memories of seeing him in person, so she decides, you know, I might as well go up there, see him one last time and get to know him before he passes away. And on the way, of course, she falls in love with this bush pilot. However, the conflict is kind of that Calla clearly likes her life in Toronto, and then the love interest, Jonah, he is set on living in Alaska. So it's kind of like, where do you go from there whenever both of them want these different things out of life, but yet they're clearly in love? And it's also like, girl, we knew this was gonna happen because the same thing happened to her mother and father. The reason she doesn't know her father is because he decided he couldn't leave Alaska. Her mother wanted her life in the city, so that's why they're apart. And it's like, girl, you're repeating the history here, come on now. And I don't know, it was good. I mean, it's not really my type of read. It was kind of like, I don't know, just the Alaskan bush, not really my vibe, you know what I mean? But it was still really sweet. There were some things he did that gave me the ick, like, hello, he literally took her makeup away from her and was like trying to tell her how to dress and what to do, and it's like, stop being so controlling, you know what I mean? And it's also like, okay, if you love your partner enough, like, I'm sorry, but you would do anything for them, and that includes moving to a different country away from the place that you want to live. I don't know if that makes sense, but like, they would be your number one priority in this life, you know what I mean? And so for that, I was kind of like, I don't know. I don't really see them lasting, if we're being honest, but I mean, it was still a cute little book. I gave it 3.5 stars overall. Okay, moving into the very last book here. This is Twisted Love by Anna Huang. Guys, at the time in November, I hadn't finished this book yet. I technically finished it on December 1st, so I'm not gonna give my entire full wrap-up thoughts and opinions on this one. You're just gonna have to wait for my December wrap-up for this one, but just know, yeah. It was crazy. It was crazy. I want to say I was like literally here. Like, I literally read all of this yesterday, if that tells you anything. You can just take that as you will. But I will see you guys in December with this one right here. So here we have it. My hair is stuck. Whoa. These are the 7 books I officially read in the month of November. Look at those bad boys. Crazy. I don't know how I'm holding this without it all falling to the floor. Oh, wow. Look at that. I would say that's a pretty good reading month given everything that's been going on in my life. We'll see. Honestly, I'm hoping to read even more in December, so stay tuned for more reading vlogs, reading wrap-ups, adventures here with my books. You know what I mean? I hope you guys really enjoyed this video. If you did, please be sure to give it a thumbs up and comment down below your favorite book that you read in the month of November. I love you all so much, and I'll see you guys next time. Bye, guys.